You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Daredevil is born again on Disney Plus.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken, and chaos must reign.
On March 4th, the 9-episode event begins.
I was raised to believe in grace, but I was also raised to believe in retribution.
Marvel Television's Daredevil, Born Again. Don't miss the 2-episode premiere March 4th, only on Disney Plus.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo. Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Shadowing it.
It is clear that Honora was the biggest winner of the night.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I'll be even more specific and mention Mikey Madison, who's had, just this is really her moment. Was great and poor, Better Things, the show. And I love the fact Sean Baker acknowledged Tarantino when he won. He goes, Quentin, I love your work. And by the way, there would be no Mikey Madison without you. So thanks for casting Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is something that people do forget. So I think that was definitely one of the bigger wins of the night. I mean, obviously, it's Sean Baker in a row. The fact that this guy's going home with 4 Oscars, he does set a record in terms of that category. And I do think Adrian Brody's the big winner of the night. And in addition to The Brutalist, the fact that The Brutalist was, again, a movie made in VistaVision, which is something they used in the 1950s. Brady Corbet is a former actor turned director. If Honora is the biggest winner of the night, The Brutalist still did very well. To be able to say we got best actor, best score, and best cinematography,
they're not
still feels pretty
at
good.
all. Yeah, tell me, who's your biggest loser?
I'm going to say, God, I think it's a complete unknown because their one chance was Timothée Chalamet, and he doesn't win it. So a complete unknown, 8 nominations, over.
I'm going to say the biggest loser of the night, and I love her. I love her so much, but Demi Moore. I think that she expected to win. I think this was her moment, and she had some great speeches along the way, but this was going to be the crowning achievement of a career. And when you St. Elmo's Fire about last night, you go back and then you look at Indecent Proposal, and you just go through her career, and this was her time, and I felt for her, but I still have to say that she's got to be the biggest loser of the night.
Demi less in this instance rather than Demi Moore. I mean, that was, and because this is the moment, right? She never got nominated before. This is your one chance. She's not going to get another nomination. We all know that. The Substance, by the way, is like it's so shocking it got this much attention. Like, this is a horror movie which is gruesome and grimy. And when Mike Ryan recommended it to us, I was like, I'm not sure about this. And you don't like these types of movies, so it was like the fact it got this many nominations is remarkable. But as you said before,
it got the open, Adnan.
Yeah,
Conan opened the show coming out of Demi Moore's body.
Yeah, like you're getting
that's the prime real estate. All right, number one takeaway.
Well, it's a great sign for independent film because that's what Honora was. This was truly an independent movie made by Sean Baker, which he's really passionate about. He goes, it was $6 million. We used every single one of those dollars to make a movie which was authentic and lived in, as I said before, a comedy, a drama, a tragedy. It's a wonderful, beautiful film. And also The Brutalist, which is an independent film financed by Brady Corbet, a story about an epic, about an immigrant, the rise and fall. Guy Pearce, by the way, one of the biggest winners of the year. I love him. Finally got his first Academy Award nomination. He's so great in The Brutalist for Best Supporting Actor. Those are a couple of big winners there. And I just think, as you said, cinema in general, it really did well. My biggest loser, by the way, in addition to just the year itself, the runtime. The whole point of 7 p.m. Eastern, David, was they know the Oscars goes 3.5 hours, sometimes 4 hours. So it used to always start at 8 o'clock Eastern and then go till midnight. Everyone's like, oh, my God, wait for your late local news, et cetera. So they move it to 7. And the thought is, okay, even we're hoping for 3 hours, but even if it's 3.5, 10:30 is still reasonable. But this 10:45, I know maybe it sounds like I'm quibbling over 15 minutes, but it felt bloated.
Yeah, I thought the elements of the show dragged. Okay. And that made it feel worse, but it caught up quickly at the end. And the stream said it would end at 10:32.
So it only 10 minutes over by that logic.
10 or 11 minutes over. And Brody himself was 40% of the overage. So just keep in mind that is a big factor.
Okay, what happened with Hulu then? Apparently the Hulu feed crashed. That's one of the biggest losers of the night.
So I want to say that my takeaway from the year in movies and my takeaway from the show, we heard people talk about movie theaters, the importance of going to the movies. Mm-hmm. It starts with Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible saying, I'm going to put movie theaters on my back. I'm going to demand a theatrical release, and you must see my movie on a big screen. What we learned today, when you hear an independent person, and a person who's making small movies, small budgets, talk about the importance of movie theaters, that is the lifeblood of the industry that you and I love so much. Yeah. And that lifeblood is being torn apart by the very commercial that Conan had in the show, trying to convince people to go to a theater. That was the theme of the show. It was getting people back post-COVID, because the destruction of the revenue structure of the film business has been severe since COVID. And it was starting, and now it's been severe. So my takeaway is that there are quality movies that studios are afraid to greenlight. And I hope that the winners of the Oscars this year, the quality of the movies and the size of them, will allow studio executives to be more brave in their choices.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I didn't like last night, Cody, that I realized while watching the Oscars how much my viewing habits have changed, where Conan O'Brien to me is one of my idols. I can't explain how much I admire the way that he's reinvented himself so that he can do in his 60s an award show that would be self-aware. Like comedy self-aware, because he really is a comedy giant. So I just want to watch him, but I don't have 3.5 hours of that in me. And Adnan and David eat it up. They were up late into the night eating up every morsel of information on the Oscars. And I realized while watching it, I don't even have the stamina for what has become an old person's show.
Why wouldn't I love it then, if it's an old person's show?
I would think that you would love it. You didn't love it?
I didn't see a single one of the films. It's a weird thing about me. And I must get this 10 times a week. They're like, you were featured in a major motion picture, Absence of Malice. How can you not be?
You don't get that 10 times a week.
How can you not be a movie fan?
You do not get.
Let's hear him out. Yeah.
There is no way you get 10 times a week. There's just no way.
I'm sure there's some weeks where it's like 8 times.
Well, yeah, I am.
But then there's the 12 weeks, so then it averages to 10.
Okay, I am exaggerating a little bit.
You're saying you get approached daily on your star turn being in a newsroom in Absence of Malice 50 years ago.
That's not what he said. You're putting words in his mouth. Yeah, sometimes there's a day that he could be approached like 9 times in a single day.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to know, what was Paul Newman like? How was Sidney Pollack to work with?
Ooh, I've always wondered.
Yeah, and he was great. I tried to stay away from him. I'm a young actor at that time. I'm in my late 20s, I think. But it was a great experience. But, all this time later, the movies have left me behind. I just don't feel involved. I don't go to theaters. I don't like the theater experience. I've been to one film in the last 5-7 years.
You heard what they were just saying on status of the industry, where the theater experience pays for everything. Like if you care about art instead of commerce, and I know both of those are inextricably linked, what's happening in Hollywood right now will kill the movies unless the theaters keep it alive.
Right. And what the Oscars need to do is recognize that and resuscitate the whole theater experience by making theatrical releases their own category. Like, I think movies that come out on Netflix or any other streaming service should be in a different category than movies you can only see in a theater. And that would prop up the theater releases as something special.
None of this would get you out to the theaters, though.
That's right.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. You want me to get to the theaters, make a movie worth going to the theater.
Right. Like, I'm going to watch it on TV.
Right.
Like, my wife, I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. So my wife just told me that film will be available in my home a viewing audience soon, and I'll watch it.
It's just curious to offer up solutions to save an industry when you yourself say that won't be enough to actually get you to participate in the change that you see.
Look, this is why he's the Hall of Fame columnist that he is. He's built an entire journalism career atop that particular fraudulence.
Are you a Hall of Fame writer?
I am not.
Okay.
No, the only Hall of Fame I'm in is the Orange Bowl Media Hall of Fame.
Are you saying that he has a baseball Hall of Fame vote?
Okay, I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't think I needed to make this clarification in the local hour. A Miami Herald legend, Greg Cote is for all time in the local hour a Miami Herald Hall of Famer.
No, but they don't actually have. Do they have one?
No.
All right, so he is not.
All Hall of Fame? Do we have a Hall of Fame?
I'm not. Look, Greg Cote is absolutely a 20-year anniversary Le Batard show with Stugotz Hall of Famer. That's not up for dispute.
That's not a Hall of Fame either. We don't have a Hall of Fame.
Is there a Greg Cote show Hall of Fame? He should make one.
If there's a Theater of Mind Hall of Fame, then I guess.
I tell you, Billy, man, he's on the mark.
Okay. Wasn't your fantasy football league going to start a Hall of Fame?
My fantasy, the regular PFBI, not PFBI fantasy, is toying around with the idea of a Hall of Fame.
Really?
As it is, by the way, speaking of movies, the Dad's Dynamics Cup PFBI Championship Trophy weighs almost twice what an Academy Awards Oscar weighs.
Fascinating.
Wow.
Like 8 pounds to roughly 14 pounds. So I correlate that with, what's got the heft. What do you want to hold?
Some would say it's more prestigious, right? Because less people have won a Dad's Dynamic Cup than have won Academy Awards.
That's right. No question about that. But to Mike's point, yes, I'm a proposer. I am proposing a solution to help resuscitate movie theaters, but I'm an idea man. I'm not going to participate in saving the theater, but I'm going to suggest how it might be done.
Billy, it's crowded in here today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need a little better from you than that's why they call me Mark. Okay? Just a little.
I'm on the mark.
Just a little.
You can refer to me as Mark
but
today.
But no one calls you Mark.
Some do.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to
need.
They
have.
Listen to me. It's crowded in here today, and I need you to be better.
Wow. I'm trying. I'm just coming there. Can I ask you a question?
Do you like the Oscars? Because I've got a room here that I'm dealing with today where I think that Jessica's the only one who actually cares about the art of what we're talking about. I don't think any of you actually care about the Oscars at all.
Well, the good thing about the Oscars, right, is that they basically tell you beforehand, this is what we're going to talk about today, these movies, right? I didn't see any of those movies, so I don't need to watch the Oscars today, because what do I care who wins an award amongst movies I didn't watch this year?
Am I failing that miserably to project that I like movies?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
It's a little too much, though, Mike.
Like
Talk
about
Nosferatu. It's a little too much.
I feel like if you scan the room,
Such a good love story for an eternal love story.
I've lost one. I think you missed the point.
Yeah.
I like movies. I watch the Oscars. Watch the whole thing. Also, how do you not have a stamina for a show that's aging older? Like you said that.
Yeah, I'm confused about that too. Because you said that you feel like you're aging out of it because it's a show for old people. But wouldn't you be aging into it?
Right. Well, what I was watching, I said that off air, not on air. What I was watching.
But your takes are soaked
But you sort of said
bias.
it like 10 minutes ago too when we started the show.
What I was watching last night, okay, because of my changed viewing habits I'd rather have, and this happened to me accidentally, I didn't expect it. Don't give me a 3.5-hour movie. Give me 8 1-hour shows, and I might binge right through it. I might go 8 hours instead of 3.5, but don't tell me beforehand that something's 3.5 hours because I don't have the attention span for this anymore. But as I'm watching it with all the pageantry and all the dancing, I'm like, I can see how this would appeal to a certain demo over 45 that has a romantic relationship with the movies and what the movies mean and what an award show about the movies mean. And I'm telling you that even with all of that as backstory, I'm tuning in because I want to see Conan, and not even he kept me there.
You said that he was one of your heroes. What's the appropriate age gap to have a hero? Because you guys are similar in age. He's a little older than you, right?
Can you have a younger hero?
Yeah. Can you have a hero that's younger than you?
Cool. I show speed. You're my hero.
He is 61 and I am 56, but I'm just saying that I'm watching through like his entire history and evolution, how he fought through the late night wars and was more authentic than any of them, more self-aware about like being consistently funny and amusing about himself and being likable enough that at 61 he hosts the Oscars, and I'm guessing he boosts their numbers merely by putting his particular imprint on it because he reaches across 30 years.
Well, I thought he was really funny, and that his whole premise of I'm not going to waste your time, It worked. He didn't waste our time, and it didn't run late because he was just bullshitting in the middle of the show. It ran late because they did a random 10-minute ode to James Bond that probably
not random.
Yeah, not good.
What did I miss?
Didn't need that.
Dude,
random.
This whole 007 thing is weird. It's almost as if everyone just kind of put to bed the notion that 007 movies are going to be interesting anymore because the ownership officially changed hands, and now it's in the hands of Amazon. So, like, everyone's saying goodbye to 007, not because it's going anywhere, but because there's just going to be more of a saturated 007 market now because they're going to churn these out. It was weird.
I honestly assumed it was like SpawnCon. Like, it was like, hey, remember James Bond? You're going to watch it now on Amazon.
Well, I wonder, as we cheapen the movies, because 007 and that entire franchise, you can make the argument whether you want to go Mission Impossible, Bourne, or any of the others, John Wick, it can be argued greatest action franchise there's ever been in the history of the movies. When Daniel Craig is asked, when he's asked 6 or 5 Bonds in, what do you care? What do you think about what they're going to do with the character next? He says, I don't care, because they're going to cheapen the bleep out of this.
You know what? Shut up. You died. You ruined the whole thing. You died.
Yeah.
James Bond's not supposed to die. Could do without you telling me about the rest of the franchise when your film is part of the problem.
Worst James Bond ever, by the way, if we're going to be honest. You know why?
That's a bad take.
Because he died.
He died.
None of the others died.
That's not his fault.
It
is his fault.
It's not his
All
fault.
of the others
Did
figured
you
out a
watch
way
the
to
movie?
not die.
Did you watch the movie?
Yeah, I watched the movie.
He died, and
Yeah.
he didn't come back.
Exactly.
When Ethan Hunt dies, he at least comes
Thank
back.
you.
He's died twice.
Guy gets it.
Disavowed.
And it looks like he's going to die a third time. From the looks of this trailer.
But we don't know.
No, definitely gets disavowed, though.
How many James Bonds have there been? Can anybody name them all? Because I stopped watching after Sean Connery.
No.
I think all the living James Bonds should get the vote on who the next James Bond is.
It's Dalton, it's Pierce Brosnan, it's Daniel Craig. There haven't been that many.
Yeah, there have been too many.
Okay, but now they're going to be more.
And none of them have died except one. You know who died multiple times and come back? Jason Bourne. Yeah. Dude, that guy's drowned like 7 times and still keeps coming back somehow. He's not a quitter. He says, you know what? I'm not giving up on you guys, the fans. Daniel Craig, quitter, gave up on us. Decided, you know what? I'm going to be selfless and I'm going to sacrifice myself and I'm going to die, blah, 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 blah. Get out of here.
Loser.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys are not, again, respecting yet another giant franchise. This happens so much around here where things that have earned 50, 60 years of prestige, you guys yawn and spit in the face of because we're better than 007. You tell me he's died. How many times has Bourne died? You said that Tom Cruise has died twice.
Ethan Hunt has. Tom Cruise can never actually die.
Ever heard of No Time to Die, James Bond? That's what all of them had, except him, apparently. He had plenty of time to die.
So there have been 25 official 007 films. There's 2 that are in the unofficial category, but they're satire. So 25 official 007 films.
You're not okay with the Bond franchise resuming with the plot twist? Oh, he wasn't actually dead in the last one. Here's the plot twist.
I don't know how they're going to dig themselves out of the mess that the last one put us in. I assume they're just going to be like, hey, forget about that crappy ending. Yeah. We're starting anew, which everyone's fine with. I'm not mourning the passing of 007. I think that they made terrible creative decisions. I'm happy to welcome our new tech overlords.
Yeah. Part of the reason why the theater is dying is that, and I'm pontificating as someone who doesn't go to movies, I get the irony of that, but movies reinvent themselves too much. Like, the franchise is killing the theater. Batman films, Marvel.
Statistically, not the case. The franchises are keeping them afloat.
No, we don't like that.
Craig, I can't think of a subject that you have less expertise on. That you're going.
The last movie you went to was Swing Vote.
No.
And there's only one. In fairness to Greg, there was no Swing Vote 2.
Right. I saw Rocket Man in the theater.
There you go.
Pre-pandemic.
Look, let's do this. Do me a favor. Can I just send Greg Cody to another room and we'll give him 2 minutes? Floor is yours. Say whatever you want about the movies. But for now, can we allow that you are the least qualified person on earth to have a strong gas bag opinion on anything movie related?
It's the opposite. He's the most qualified because he's the one not going to the theater, so he can tell you exactly why he's not going.
Mark's absolutely right.
This is a fresh perspective. Okay, this is a friend.
Wow.
I'm an independent thinker.
That has to be a fine.
I'm not beholden to the movies.
It is a fine. I will pay a $5 fine, a new fine for snorting. Greg, go into the other room. I will get 2 minutes of your talk in a second, please. Okay, I want to get all of your Oscar opinions, and I want to have the floor is yours for you. Go as long as you can, and we'll just help you from in here. But in the interim, I do want to get Jessica's opinions as someone who cares and actually watched all of the movies. So you guys give me no expertise for 20 minutes, haven't watched the movies, have a ton of opinion.
What?
Did you watch I'm Still Here?
I did not watch I'm Still Here.
There you go.
You watched all of them. I did watch about 25% of the Brutalist before I realized this is not going to win, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do this with my life. But I did watch Nora. I did watch Dune 2. I think I watched more than half of the nominated films. I even watched Sing Sing because I thought it was going to get nominated, and it wasn't, and it should have been.
That was a really good movie. Yeah, I think that there were a lot of movies worth seeing in the theater this year, Billy, but there's a lot of stuff going on, so sometimes you just don't have the time to go, and that's fine. And now you can stream Anora tomorrow if you feel like watching it because you found it at won Best Picture. So I don't know, it was a good night. It was a fun award show. I think the middle part dragged, but that's when I put on my jammies and brush my teeth and wash my face and get ready for bed. So I was content having a good 40-minute stretch where I could just walk away for a little bit.
I ceased being happy for Adrian Brody about 4 minutes into his speech because it's a cool story. 20 years in between wins, his career was thought dead, comes back, is a 2-time Oscar winner. That's an elite class. But then he started rubbing it in everybody's face like, hey, I've actually been here before. And he's like, real quick, I know how to do this real quick. And then he goes on the most inefficient diatribe that no one actually remembers or anything like that. It wasn't super poignant. He was trying to be, but it kind of missed the mark. We were all just kind of upset because they wrapped up the previous person, and that wasn't very fair.
Yeah, I thought that the big winner the last night was people like Mike who were like, I'm going to watch The Brutalist if it wins Best Picture, and then it didn't. And now 3.5 hours of your life, you get back. So have fun. Enjoy it.
I think I'm going to watch Heretic again. Listen, boys, we got to talk about Jägermeister. A go-to guy at home, at the bar, or maybe even out at the rink. A drink so ice cold, it deserves its own video tribute at every sports bar across North America. No trash talk, no running its mouth. We love the confidence. Own them. Jägermeister sent us an ad to read on the show, but they're so confident they said, don't do any of that normal ad stuff. Tell the listeners 2 things. Jägermeister is great, but everyone's been drinking it wrong. Damn, that's cold.
Well, how should we be drinking it?
They're so glad you asked. Ice cold at 0 degrees Fahrenheit to be exact. Ice cold shots of Jägermeister. That's it. That's all they want to tell you. So, wherever you are, if you're hanging out with friends or at the bar, call the shots. Cheers with ice cold shots of Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold.
And remember to check Jägermeister out at DraftKingsXJägermeister.com.
Drink responsibly. Jägermeister liqueur, 35% alcohol by volume. Imported by Mass Jägermeister, U.S. White Plains, New York.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by BetterHelp. We talk a lot about red flags, the warning signs that tell us to stay away from toxic relationships. But what if we spent more time looking for green flags? You know, the signs that a relationship is healthy, supportive, and worth investing in. So what are some green flags to look out for? Good communication, emotional safety, mutual respect, and someone who genuinely listens to you. Whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, or even a coworker, recognizing these positive traits can help you build relationships that will truly love you back. And if you're not sure how to spot them, or even how to practice them yourself, therapy can help. Therapy can teach you positive coping skills, how to set boundaries, and how to show up as the best version of yourself. BetterHelp is accessible, affordable, and convenient. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and a fully online platform, you can find the right match for you. Plus, you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. So why not invest in the relationship that matters most, starting with yourself? Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DLB.
All right, I know I got to do this ad read, but hold on. Let me reapply. Did you hear that? Yep, that's my new favorite lip gloss from NYX Cosmetics. Now I'm ready to talk to you. I've been a huge fan of NYX Cosmetics for many years now. In fact, I use their Thick It, Stick It brow gel every single day. So you can imagine my excitement when we recently received a special delivery to the Le Batard studios from our friends over at NYX Cosmetics. And there it was. When I opened the box, glowing, I heard the angels sing, "Ah." It's their latest lip gloss fat oil lip drip. It's NYX Cosmetics' first lip oil of its kind. This creamy lip oil will have your lips dripping with fat perks. You get all the shine of a lip gloss and none of the stickiness while experiencing 12-hour hydration. I'm usually a matte lip gloss kind of gal. My normal go-to is NYX Cosmetics lip gloss, the Lingerie XXL. But after applying the status update shade, I have found my new go-to lip gloss. Fat Oil Lip Drip has high shine finish with comfortable wear and none of the sticky texture. A lip product that's hydrating, non-sticky, and only $9? Now that's a win. Try Fat Oil Lip Drip from NYX Professional Makeup. Available in 14 universally flattering shades. Find your perfect Fat Oil Lip Drip. Shop now at NYXCosmetics.com or a retailer near you.
Don Batard.
It's the classic first ballot Hall of Famer, the musical fart, okay, where it can be a creaking door, right. It can be an orchestra tuning up before a concert, and the bassoon is a little bit off key, and it comes out like that.
Stugotz.
The musical fart. It's a beauty. It is a beauty. Me. Sorry. Shit.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Brody put everyone off and delayed the entire ceremony when we were this is what I'm telling you about my viewing habits when I'm noticing they're changing. I'm inside of a portal. I think you guys can understand this. You're watching a show that has always mattered in America and is also viewed as the height of liberal elitism that separates this country between everything that's burning in California and how the rest of the country views liberal Hollywood. And Adrian Brody gets up there.
Now? I mean, they've always viewed it this way.
Yes, no, I know. But what I'm saying is that over the pandemic, we all realized when they tried to keep this annual, very important American symbol of a show up in the air, oh, this is silly to do this now. All of this is stupid. The industry's shut down. They're fighting over money, and AI is going to take over soon. This is the last vestiges of America being able to celebrate itself and what it used to be on television. This show as here's Hollywood, but it's also being torn asunder by tech people and being torn asunder by streaming, and we got to keep the theaters alive, and the writers are fighting over AI spaces. Like the commerce of all of this, it threatens the beauty of the art, and then Adrian Brody gets up in the middle of it and gas bags, and people remember why they hate self-important actors.
No, they don't hate it. They love it. They love it. It's a celebration of America's celebrating its obsession with celebrity. Like, it's an award show. All of it is silly. All of it is dumb. All of it is them patting themselves on the back. And I think most people are kind of wise to that and admit that this is a guilty pleasure of theirs. One thing that I don't like that they've done for like a decade now, because I guess one of the award show hosts was too mean when it came to respecting the categories, is they do this whole thing where they have either former winners or presenters come out and they list the nominees, but when it's an acting category, they're like, Stanley, your bravery as you played a cardinal, it knocked me to my knees. Your courage under such like they're
He
acting.
should have been nominated, by the way. Stanley Tucci snubbed.
But they always do that.
Ray Fiennes snubbed, should have won.
And they always end it with
Coleman
like,
Domingo also should have won.
Thank you.
They both should have won.
Thank you. Bravo. And then they just move on to the next one. I'm like, where's the joke? This is all a great
It's very
setup.
earnest, yes. But I think this year they had to change it for the Best Actress category because Emma Stone came out and then they were like, these are the nominees for Best Actress because the actress who played the main character in Amelia Perez was embroiled in scandal and controversy throughout this entire award season. Also, another big winner last night, all of the haters of Amelia Perez because they won for Best Song and I think a couple other ones, but like none of the big awards. And so if you hated that movie, which most people did, whew, what a relief.
If I may, this award show for me will always be remembered for its open. I think arguably the Wicked number at the start was the greatest performance I had ever seen at an award show ever. Finally supplanting Ricky Martin's bursting onto the scene with a cup of life.
That was amazing, and that was the previous. Tony remembers. Tony,
I was a little boy, but I do remember
Tony,
that.
Latin people represent right there. He hit that ceremony with so much Latin that our people were proud, and thank you, Ricky, for breaking through to the other side.
No one had seen hips move like that before in their entire life. But Cynthia, when she got that note, when she delivered the note, I mean, it's a where were you type of moment.
This is what I need to say to you. You need to take it back because nothing will top Ricky Martin and what he did for our people.
Did you watch the number?
Mike, you need to. Mike?
What about my people?
Mike?
What's going on here?
You need to take it back. Let's go to Greg Cody in the other room, get 2 minutes of unfiltered thought on what is the least qualified man in America to be talking about the Oscars today. Go ahead, Greg.
Least qualified man. I'm the only one among us who's been featured in a major motion picture, Absence of Malice, in '81. Mike's talking about the greatest hips in America. Elvis Presley's hips were barred from appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show in the mid '60s or whenever that was, because those hips were moving. The Oscars need to. It's funny they have a category for editing because they don't edit themselves. It's funny they have a category for short films. How about a short Oscars? They need the Oscars to be a concise 1 hour award show. Eliminate all the fluff. More wheat, less chaff. There's just too much going on. They eliminated the songs because all 5 of the best song nominees were awful. So granted, we didn't have to hear that, which is great. Otherwise, it would have been a 5-hour show. Talk about a metaphor for the night. The Brutalist. It's brutal watching anything for 3.5 hours, whether it's a film or an award show. Come on, if you want to attract the non-movieaholic, Jessica watched all 10 films that were nominated for Best Picture. God love her. You could put a gun to my head and I wouldn't do that.
Come on.
I'm just saying.
I bet you would.
You could offer me a lot of money to watch The Brutalist for 3.5 hours.
Well, I've already talked you down from gun.
Okay, well,
No, but if
that
we
kind of thing.
But if we put a gun to your head, you'd watch all 10 of the movies.
I don't think I would. I would play the odds. I would assume that the gun was either jammed or had no bullets in it. I'm going to play those odds.
Those are playing poor odds.
No, they're odds.
Well, now you're saying the gun might not be loaded. It's a different metaphor. Yeah. I mean,
this gun is loaded. You better watch Honora.
Bad gambler, man.
Honora. Now, Honora sounds like it's a terrible name for a film, Honora. But and so is the Dylan film has a terrible title.
A Complete Unknown?
Yeah, people need to consult with me on the title of a film or something, because Honora, I didn't hear, is it a woman's name? What is Honora? It sounds like a car. I drive a Toyota Honora. Again, I think cilantro.
Well, she doesn't like her name either, so I guess you guys
cilantro.
agree on
what?
that. She goes by Annie.
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But anyway,
Annie's a movie
but
Greg
Annie's
would
been
watch. Annie's definitely
been done.
Yeah, these people in back of me were chanting my name a couple of minutes ago. It's weird. They're being silent now while I'm talking, which is great. They're like dummies back there. But I'm trying to fix film. I am. I'm trying to save the theater experience, marshal all of my background in film with Absence of Malice. And
you mentioned that. Look,
haven't had a role since.
We're up to 4 times this week where he's been talked about that role.
Thank you.
It's usually 10. We're pacing high this week.
Amin has 2 movies coming out this year, so you are not. You are not the biggest movie star we have around here because you were in the newsroom of Absence of Malice. You didn't speak a line, correct?
It was a featured scene.
But you didn't speak a line, correct?
Not that I recall, no. I think they left me on the cutting room floor. I didn't grovel to Pollock enough. He didn't give me a speaking line.
No, listen. You were in Absence of Malice because you happened to be in the newsroom that day. And you were in the background and you didn't say anything. And you've been talking about it for 50 years, but you don't even have a SAG card.
And SAG. Come up with a better name, a better acronym. Who invent Screen Actors Guild? Come up with a different name so that your acronym is not SAG. When people SAG, there's like, have an effervescent acronym, something upbeat, not SAG. That's another thing I'm going to fix. If I'm in charge of the movies, I'm full of ideas. I'm not a movie fan, but that gives me the perspective, the bird's eye perspective. I'm on a ledge. I'm looking down at the movie industry. I'm seeing what's wrong, what needs fixing, and I'm volunteering to do it. And I'm as serious as I can be when I say cut the Oscars to a concise 1 hour. Okay, now Conan O'Brien was great, I watched because of him. I was not let down. He had the great line about the brutalist. It was so good. I never wanted it to end, and it never did. Great line. Conan O'Brien is fabulous. He's not a hero of mine. I don't want to get carried away.
Greg, okay,
yes.
hold on. Just hold on a second. Billy wants to get in here. Give me a second.
No, I'm fine here. Greg can go. I wanted to come up. I want to volunteer to help Greg fix the Oscars if we can, Greg.
Thank you.
And here's a solution that I have, and maybe we'll capture Dan's attention and the attention of many others. So what if instead of a 4-hour, 5-hour ceremony, you release the Oscars on Netflix as a 4-part award ceremony with cliffhangers at the end of every episode? You know what I mean?
Are you standing?
You do something along the lines of, and the winner is, and then boom,
Are you
black screen. You're like, I need to see who won that award.
Greg, are you standing up and sagging?
Yes. This is what the SAG Awards does to you, right? I'm sagging. Mm-hmm. The life has gone out of my body. My limbs are limp. I'm sagging. The SAG
This is what Pollock
Awards.
probably saw on the set.
You don't have a SAG award, right? You don't have a SAG card? You don't have a card?
I do not. No, okay. I wouldn't have one unless they changed the name of their company.
All right, I don't know.
in the union, huh?
Yeah.
Greg, come back in here. I don't
I'm
know.
pro-union, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah.
Greg,
All of them?
Yeah.
Greg, come back in here. Greg was making fun of me before the show, and it's a good thing to make fun of me for because I'm at a journalistic crossroads today, okay? The Panthers, the champion Panthers, have bestowed upon me an honor? Question mark? Because I am being invited to bang the drum to introduce the mighty champion Panthers before they face off against a dynasty they vanquished in Tampa Bay tonight. And Greg Cote thinks that I shouldn't do it, and he's the only one around here who thinks that I shouldn't do it. Roy and his son and everyone else here is encouraging me.
Roy is a daughter.
Is encouraging me. Greg's son and Roy are encouraging me to do this tonight, and I don't think I should do it journalistically.
Yeah. No, you shouldn't. There are a number of reasons why you shouldn't do it. And it takes a close friend to be honest with someone once in a while. Plainly, you're not a hockey fan. You think Roberto Luongo is still the goaltender. You don't know which end of the hockey stick to hold. You don't like hockey. You never watch hockey. You're disqualified from banging the drum slowly.
Disqualified?
Well, none of that had anything to do with journalism.
No. Okay, but I'm getting to that because the journalism thing is ridiculous. This guy used to be a journalist.
Yeah,
okay?
correct.
He is right now. If he bangs the drum slowly, and you have to, it's all about the rhythm. Don't do it like Dan Marino. He's never lived it down. Had he made the Super Bowl championship, they would have taken his ring away after he banged that drum. The thing you have to do is you have to realize that you are abdicating all sense of journalism by literally becoming a cheerleader for the Panthers. Okay, you might as well be on their payroll.
Well, yeah, I don't think I should do it.
Wow.
I don't either.
Are you holding out in case you work for the Times in 2 years? What are we talking about here? You're going to go back on the hockey beat at some point?
No, they're not going to hire
you.
You talk way too much about politics for them.
Dan's going to be working for the Hollywood Sun-Tattler in 5 years.
Did you like that one, Greg?
You like that one?
You like the Tattler?
Hold on.
I did.
Hold on.
Replacing Ed Playstead.
He went back to it. All right. Hold on.
How long has that guy been dead?
Hold on.
I think Rick Riley has written something more recently than you have.
Yeah.
He did. He wrote a book about Trump.
Is he still wandering around in Italy somewhere?
I think he's in Tuscany somewhere, yeah.
Mark, I'm going to need you to settle down. I've paid the fine, okay? It's listed as snort. You got me to snort, Mark. I need everyone here, though, to back off and just marvel at the majesty that was Greg Cote pulling off art the last 6 minutes that left him breathless because he's got way too much material. We're not going to have much from him the rest of the show. He just blew a gasket. He just came out firing on 2 subjects. He's got more. He's got more on me banging the drum. But I just want you guys, as his producers today, because he's going to be a runaway freight train all show, to recognize that what just happened there is Greg Cote made himself laugh by mentioning the Hollywood Sun-Tattler, a newspaper that's not existed in this town since about 1980-something.
Not even.
Okay, no, hold on. Okay, please look up for me the history of the Hollywood Sun-Tattler, because he right there was talking to the audience of our podcast that he thinks is in their 80s. In their 80s.
1942 to 1971.
The Hollywood Sun-Tattler existed in this town for a very small time. And Greg Cote then, after that, made the joke even more inside, replacing Ed Playstead, a sports editor of the Hollywood Sun-Tattler. He didn't think anyone heard it, so he made it again. He said it a second time. It's a joke that no one listening to this would understand. No one remembers who the sports editor was of the Hollywood Sun-Tattler in 1971. You simply cannot make that joke here.
Yeah, you can. Because if you don't know, you should know, and then you're going to look it up. You're going to Google the name, except it's a weird spelling on his surname, so you're not sure how to Google it. But subscribers used to call it the Tattler. The Tattler used to land in our lawn at 1440. I'd read it before I'd ever heard of Edwin Pope. I used to read Ed Playstead, who once wrote a column criticizing the NBA commissioner who had died like 3 years earlier, and he wrote the column as if the guy was still alive. But where was I?
He wrote the column as if he was still alive.
Right.
He actually...
A very critical column of the NBA commissioner.
You're saying he wrote a column about somebody who had been dead?
Yeah.
Dead? No.
3 years already.
So wait a minute. Who had been dead for 3 years?
Right.
That can't be true, what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it is. Name the NBA commissioner right before the last couple. Like this would have been going back to the 60s probably.
Greg, you cannot be serious saying that a columnist in 1970 wrote a column about the NBA criticizing a commissioner as if he were alive, a commissioner who had been dead for 3 years.
A few years, yeah. Set rec. No, the Hollywood Sun-Tattler.
Explain to Tony what a set rec is, because you're amusing yourself there with a newspaper term that he does not understand.
It's basically an abbreviation for setting the record straight. When you make a pretty grievous error or something, and you have
fool
to
for
correct
not getting that.
Set rec. But yeah, just before the paper died, they were the ones that famously had the headline "COTE'S SLAM PACES DRUGS," because at the time, as a little leaguer, I was the first baseman for a team sponsored by Adler's Drugs. I wore uniform number 9 because that was my mother, her favorite number, and I still have that headline somewhere in my house. But I'm
a little dumbfounded because Dan started the day by being like, the Oscars are too old for me, and then we've been doing this for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think you should bang the drum after this segment.
What are your thoughts here on what I should do? Because he's brought to me a conundrum that I have considered here, and he says this is ridiculous for a number of reasons. He's just getting started. If I do this tonight, I will never live it down with Greg Cote. Right. Greg Cote will respect me less if I do this tonight.
I have a possible solution here, and Greg, I don't know if you're willing to participate in this, just because, like, Dan's obviously in a bind here where he has to go out there and bang the drum potentially, right? And you think, he doesn't know which end of the hockey stick to hold, as you mentioned.
Like super offensive, by the way.
Yeah. And you don't want him to compromise his, journalistic integrity or whatever. So, like, what if you volunteered to do it for Dan so that he wouldn't be in that spot?
No, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen.
Why?
Well, first of all, they don't want me. They could have announced me, but they didn't.
I believe this is a part of a Hispanic heritage thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was born in Massachusetts. He was born in New York. Who's more Hispanic? But
I am.
It's a fair question.
That's a good. Obviously, you are. I'm kidding, but
Yeah, if you trace Greg's lineage back far enough, Cote could be.
You do both have French surnames.
Yeah, that's true. French Canadian. Yeah, the Canucks.
Actually, the French Canadians are the Canadians.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Canucks are Vancouver, right?
Yeah,
way over on the other side of the country. Beautiful city, though. Been through there on my way to an Alaskan cruise once.
Really? Where'd you stop?
Normally, that's not the port, but in that case, it was.
Juneau? Anchorage? Where'd you go?
What's that little No, not. I almost said Saskatchewan. It's a similar.
Saskatoon?
No. I'll think of it. I'll get back to you.
Please do.
Yeah, but
Mark, good work as always.
Saskatoon.
He hits the mark.
Wait, it's
does.
a port in Alaska?
Yeah. It's a little town that is floated only by the
C-word.
Sitka.
Do you still think Dan is a journalist?
Been to Sitka.
Skagway?
Journalism is amorphous now. I don't know who is and who isn't. Is Stephen A. Smith a journalist? I don't know. You tell me. But I'm just saying, back in the day, and he knows this. He's considered it. You know, back in the day, if you were a journalist by whatever definition, you wouldn't cheerlead either literally or figuratively for the home team. You would try to be honest and fair, but you wouldn't be an overt homer. He calls me a homer. He knows better. I love getting comments like, you're a homer, because I know I'm not, and other people think I'm too critical of a team, and somewhere in the middle is honesty.
I appreciate you making this about yourself.
Thank you.
It's Skagway, right?
No.
No?
No.
I'll keep looking.
Yeah, thank you. Isn't that a supermarket, Skagway?
Tony, what are your
There's
thoughts?
a cruise terminal
It's Skagway. No.
Tony, what are your
She'll set
thoughts
rec.
here? What are your thoughts on what I should do?
I'm surprised that you're actually going to make the drive out to Sawgrass.
Do you know where it
That's
is?
surprising.
You're going to get there on time, right?
It's not at the Miami Arena anymore.
Don't get there on Cuban time, Dan, because you're going to miss it.
My wife has been asking, we're going where? How far is it?
Take a helicopter? What are you doing?
Yeah, they have a heliport there.
Yeah.
So your copter will fit.
Can you guys find out for me what it would cost to take a helicopter, please? Because I think if I'm going to make it if I'm going to make it a special announcement, the final selling of my journalistic soul, I should take a helicopter.
Well, just to avoid the traffic. You do need clearance, though. Don't think that you can just land a helicopter anywhere that you want.
Should I do this?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty big honor. You would assume that they do this before every game, but they don't. Really? The list of people that have done this is pretty illustrious. The aforementioned Dan Marino, Jack Nicklaus, Udonis Haslem, Raheem Mostert, luminaries of South Florida sport and entertainment.
Didn't Ariana Grande do it?
Brittany Griner. I mean, these are heavy hitters, Dan, and you are no doubt heavy.
Brittany Griner was booed. I'll get booed, right?
What was Brittany Griner booed?
No, it won't be a boo. It'll be a who.
Ooh.
Might be a quien tonight. Because it's Hispanic heritage.
Yeah.
That's why they call me Marco.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I was going to say, how do you say
Vamos
Mark in
gatos.
Spanish? I don't even know.
Was it Sitka, Greg?
Marco.
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
We'll set rec.
We'll
find it.
I've been to Sitka.
You mentioned that.
Did I?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But since we began this conversation, I did hear that the Le Batard show is going to have a suite with an open bar. So now I'm in favor of you banging the drum.
The segment has been over for 15 seconds.
Oh, well, what do I know?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by BetterHelp. We talk a lot about red flags, the warning signs that tell us to stay away from toxic relationships. But what if we spent more time looking for green flags? You know, the signs that a relationship is healthy, supportive, and worth investing in. So what are some green flags to look out for? Good communication, emotional safety, mutual respect, and someone who genuinely listens to you. Whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, or even a coworker, recognizing these positive traits can help you build relationships that will truly love you back. And if you're not sure how to spot them, or even how to practice them yourself, therapy can help. Therapy can teach you positive coping skills, how to set boundaries, and how to show up as the best version of yourself. BetterHelp is accessible, affordable, and convenient. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and a fully online platform, you can find the right match for you. Plus, you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. So why not invest in the relationship that matters most, starting with yourself? Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DLB.
Hey folks, happy wintertime. You know, wintertime's a great time to hang out with friends. Maybe take a hockey trip. It's what I did with my friends. Hockey time quickly became Miller time. Responsibly, of course, because Miller Lite was made for me and my crew of friends. Bunch of guys that love the taste of beer and don't want to feel guilty about the beer that they're having. Miller Lite delivers across almost every note because Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers. The taste you know you can depend on with no games and no gimmicks. Just a great beer for people who like beer. Like you, like my friends, and like me. Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.